So to do Facebook ads through command, you have to go to the Campaigns applet, which is this megaphone on the left-hand side. If you're newer to command, you can click the KW at the top to expand the menu if you're not sure which icon is which yet. So it will help you. But once you go to Campaigns, you're going to click on Create Campaign at the very top right. And then you'll choose a paid ad right here. Okay. Now it looks like you leave command. It is like sort of a different platform, so it's redirecting you to this page here once it loads. If you've never done a Facebook ad before, there are a couple things you'll need to do, or even if you did them, before they introduced the new system, you'll need to come in and make sure that your Facebook page is actually connected to this platform. So to do that, you'll click on Assets on the right, or sorry, the left. If I know my left and right, so that would be helpful. And then go to Facebook Pages. And if you don't have a Facebook page connected, you would see nothing here. If you do have your page connected, it should say linked with a check mark. So if you see that and the page name is correct, you're good to go. You don't need to do anything else. If you don't see that here, you're going to need to click Add Facebook Page. It is important to know as well, you need to have a Facebook business page in order to run ads from it. So it throws people off. You'll see when I go here to continue with Facebook, it is going to connect to me like as a person, not as my business page, but that's because my business page is connected to me as a person. So first you have to connect your Facebook account to command just by clicking continue. And then it will prompt you with a list of your pages. Once you click, if it's the first time, this will say connect, not reconnect. And then you'll see if you do manage multiple pages, you'll get this list here of all the pages you have access to or that you're an admin on, so you're allowed to run ads for it. So just make sure you select the right page. Once you have that, you'll click next. And then it will bring you right back here. You'll see I just connected this one and now it says linked. Okay. From time to time, you will need, if they update their terms of service, or like their advertising guidelines or anything like that, you might come in and see like a exclamation point, or it might be red and say like accept new terms of service. You just click that and it'll go through. But as long as you see the check mark here, you're all good. If you've been running them and all of a sudden it's failing or you're not sure why, just come back to this page and see and make sure your page is still properly connected. Okay. Any questions about that portion? No? Okay. Let me go back to the dashboard. This is where we were when we first got in. If I zoom in a little bit so you can actually see it. And there's 13 different types of ads, which may seem very overwhelming, but we're really only looking at a couple of them. So you'll see next to each ad, some of them have Facebook, Instagram, some of them have a Google icon. These ones have an AdWords icon, and there's TikTok as well. So it's not just Facebook and Instagram ads you can run through command. Of course, you can do these Google ones here are, when you Google something and like the first 3 responses are sponsored and then the last 3 are sponsored. That's what these ones are, would be to get your page or whatever you're advertising either at the top or bottom of the Google results page. They're very expensive. I think it's $500 a month minimum. And those are a long game. Like you need to be, putting your money into it for multiple months before you'll see any type of result from it. Because just like search engine optimization with your website, the length of time you've been on there and the more content you're putting into it, the more likely you're going to get seen on there. And it's no different for a Google ad in that sense. So it is very expensive, probably not something you're going to get started with ads, but down the road, if you have a bigger marketing budget, that is something to look into, because then it'll get you to the top of Google for specific search results. Then Facebook, Instagram, dynamic, these are new. And then we have TikTok as well, which is more expensive. I think the minimum is like $150 spend for a TikTok ad. So we're really going to be focusing on the Facebook, Instagram ones along here on the top and this one here. And then once you've narrowed it down to that, you'll see there's a few different types. So there's listing, single image, or multi-image. So if you're doing an ad for a listing, it'll be one of those two. There's also multi-listing, which is if you have multiple listings, exactly how it sounds. You'll mainly do this, let's say you have 2 or 3 houses in the same neighborhood, or maybe you have 6 plots of land in the same development, or 6 houses in the same development. A multi-listing, it's basically they can swipe through and each slide is a different listing when they're on viewing the Facebook ad. Okay. Then you have non-listing. So that's if, you're doing an event, you're, just trying to generate buyer leads, and we'll go through one of those as well. That's the other type of ad if you don't have a listing. So you're either doing a listing or not a listing. And then you have to narrow down if you want to automatically collect their information. So that's where you see this includes Facebook lead form in blue or uses your landing page lead form in yellow. If you choose any of these with the blue tag under it, when someone sees your ad on Facebook, they click on it, it pops up, says enter your name, email, phone number to continue. So if you're linking to a listing, for example, in order for them to see the listing on your website, they have to give you their name, email, phone number. And that is what then generates the lead in Command. If you choose uses your landing page lead form, they're clicking on the ad and they're just being sent to your website. Okay. It's not collecting any information, and so you're not going to see any leads come through Command that way. So you need to have a way to then collect their information wherever you're sending them. So I gave the example of doing an event. Maybe you have an Eventbrite set up or a Google form to RSVP. You don't necessarily want to force them to give you their name, email, phone number, to send them to a page to force them to give you their name, email, and phone number, right? So just something to think about, what your strategy is and if you want to automatically collect leads or not. And if you're doing like a brand awareness and you don't necessarily want to collect leads, you just want your name and face out there, then you would choose attract buyers and sellers with the landing page lead form. Okay. Would you guys rather see a listing or a non-listing one first? Anyone?
Either or, doesn't matter.
Go with the non-listing first.
Non-listing? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's do a non-listing single image or video, just for simplicity. So this is where you can run ads if you don't have a particular listing to advertise. And there's various different things you can do for that. A couple that I've given as examples would be, maybe you have your Cloud CMA set up to collect information to give people the value of their home. You could do an ad to say, like, are you curious what your home is worth? Click here and I'll give you your free report, whatever the verbiage is you want to use. You'll have to make a graphic for it, similar to something like this, which I have in Canva. It's like your home could be worth more than you think. Get a free home value report in just a few clicks. Just going to open a new tab here to go to my Cloud CMA. Do that one open. Another one you can do as well would be to advertise like a specific area or specific criteria that someone may be interested in. The one I always do as an example is homes for sale in Halifax under 400K. Okay. So it's really hard to find homes in that, starter budget right now. And so you might have some success getting people who are interested in seeing homes under 400,000. Did you know that there's still homes in Halifax under this price? You then use your website to do that, which I'll run through that as well. So does anyone have a preference which one you want to see? Just like a general area or price range, or do you want to see the Cloud CMA home valuation?
Go with the price range.
Price range? Sure.
Yeah.
So for this example, you do need to have a KW agent site. If you do have a separate website through like My Real Page, it may still work. It just depends on if your website functions the same way. But I'm going to run through it through our KW sites. And we'll go from there. And if you do have a separate website, I can help you with that as well. So I'm just going to save this picture. Have it. All right. So when we start building our ad, the first thing you have to do is who you're targeting. The nice thing with doing it through Command is a lot of the targeting is done for you. If you've have experience doing ads through Facebook directly, you need to give them a lot of criteria of who you want to target, and it can get really overwhelming. This platform was built specifically based on whatever goal you've chosen, so it knows we're not advertising a listing, we're giving it an area, it knows it's looking for people who are interested in real estate in some way. And so all that targeting's done behind the scenes for you. You don't need to put in that they're interested in real estate. It knows based on all the cookies and all the things that technology collects from people. So the only thing you really need to do is choose where you're advertising to. So if I'm doing homes for sale in Halifax under 400K, I'm probably going to target Halifax. And you can do a radius, it is in miles, but you can go up to 50 miles, which you draw a circle. That's that's how it's doing it. Obviously the wider you go, the more reach you're going to have, but depends on your budget, how much reach you actually get. So let's say I'll do 20 miles from Halifax. Something like this, there may be people who are interested in houses in Halifax that don't live in Halifax, and so you might want to choose other areas. I always say, you know, around the springtime when it's getting into house hunting time, you may want to target the areas with military bases, people being posted. So maybe you target Ottawa and Barrie and Cold Lake and Vancouver, like all the other places that would have people being posted to Halifax. So that's just something to think about as well. But you can start with this and like literally just go 50 miles and it'll get a good chunk of the mainland of Nova Scotia. You can do up to 10 locations also. So you could do like Germany. It can be anywhere in the world. So you choose your location, then you put in your media. So that's where you have to have a graphic or a video or something. So I'm going to click plus right on this image here. And then I need to click on add new media. And I'm going to upload from device. And I have my home value one here. Okay, so that's there. I'm going to click confirm and close. And now you'll see over here on the right-hand side, it's giving us a preview of what that ad's going to look like. Then we have our text. So this is where you have to get a little creative. So your body text is like the caption that goes at the top here. And then your headline goes down here. So it's a very little amount of text. It says you can do up to 55 characters, but as soon as you get into any like even 55 characters, it only shows half of it and says ... So keep it as short as you can. I would say like click learn for details. Something like that. And you'll see in the preview it should show like that. So it doesn't cut off what you're writing. Highly recommend ChatGPT if you're not a super creative writer. I am not. So I would go to ChatGPT personally and, you know, get it to write me a caption for a Facebook post. Post advertising. This is for sale under 400. It can be as simple as that. You can give it a lot of more detail of how you want it written. If you're a ChatGPT user, a lot of times it knows how you like things written, and so you'll get different options. So like this one here, affordable homes do exist in Halifax. Explore houses for sale under 400K before they're gone. These gems don't last long. Sounds good to me. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it here. I don't even have to say click learn more because we have that in our header. So yeah, you can write it yourself, obviously, as well, if you want to. I never do. Okay. Then next is your post lead submission destination. So when someone clicks on this ad, they give you their information. Where does it send them? You need to send them somewhere that's giving them the thing that you've promised in the ad. And in this case, it is a list of homes for sale in Halifax under 400,000. So this is where the KW website comes in. So I'm going to switch gears and pop over to my KW website. And I'm just in the search bar of my site. I'm just going to search for Halifax. Any questions so far, by the way, while this loads? No? Okay. It'll give you a very, very zoomed out view of Halifax. And if I zoom in, you can kind of place the map wherever you want. So if I go to about here, it's getting a good chunk of HRM. You can zoom out as much as you want. Then obviously the other criteria that I put in was under 400,000. So I'm going to go up to the filters on my search and I'm going to set the max price at 400,000. Well, yeah. Trying to count the zeros. Okay, and then keep in mind that's the only filter, so it is pulling likely land as well, unless you go into more filters and you can set it here. So maybe you choose houses, condos, depending on the wording of your ad. You know, if you said single family homes, you probably wouldn't select condos or townhomes or multifamily. Maybe just do houses. Manufactured is mini homes. So if you want to advertise specifically mini homes, you would choose manufactured. If you want them included in this search criteria, you can check that off. If you don't, then I would leave it off. And some, depending on how they're put into MLS, they may still come up if they didn't choose mobile as the type, right? So now we have a search right now of the current MLS listings in Halifax under 400,000. The beauty of this is up here, if you look at this link, it's very long now. There's like latitude and longitude and a bunch of things. And it looks like a jumble, but what it is a live link. And so when I copy this link, Cheryl, if I sent this to you, you click it, you're going to get the exact same details I'm seeing. But if you click it tomorrow and 3 of these are now sold and they're gone and there's two new ones, you're going to see whatever is live in that moment that you click on the link. Okay. The beauty of that is that it's repeatable. And so I can make this ad and then I can just duplicate it over and over. I never need to change the link. It's always going to pull the current MLS data. Now, of course, this is homes under 400K. There's lots of other filters you can do if there's other specific things you want to advertise. Maybe you want to just advertise, these are all the brand new construction homes in Halifax. Maybe you want to advertise, like, check out all these open houses this weekend, or here's all the houses that have been reduced in price. Like, do you want to see any of them? Let me know. All these different filters, it's going to save those filters in your link. Okay, so any of those things, just keep those in mind when you're trying to think of things you want to advertise. You could select pool. Like, are you looking for a house with a pool? Here's a list of all the ones in this area, right? You can get really, really specific with it. So just keep that in mind and look at all the different filters you can use and do that as well. So condos are another one. If you're trying to target downsizers, you might do an ad for condos in Halifax, right? So, like I said, this is our live link at the top, and I'm just going to highlight that and I'm going to copy it because that's our destination. When they click on our ad, this is where I want them to go. And again, it's going to be exactly wherever you place this map. So just make sure it looks how you want it to look. And then we just go back to our Facebook ad, that part out, and I'm going to paste that link in. Okay. If I click on preview the link, it's going to open a new tab, and in theory, that should bring me exactly where I just was in this new tab. Okay. So all my filters, you can see my 2 filters are there. It's putting the map exactly where I was, and the price is set to under 400,000. Okay. You can also sort it this way and it will save what you sort. So it is recently updated here. So that's going to be any changes, whether it's a new listing, whether the price was changed, something else was changed. So you may want to do like days on site, and that's going to be like just actually the newest listings in that order. Okay, so that is our destination. Any questions about that portion with the agent site? Nope. That's basically built the ad. The rest of it is kind of the behind the scenes setup. And so a couple different things. Apparently I'm in my team account. So if you do have a team, you'll see lead routes here. If you don't have a team, you won't see that. But what this is you can actually go into your command settings and set up a specific route. So even though it's you creating the ad, maybe Lindsay, you do an ad and you want all the leads to go to Shelly. You could have that set up in the background, and so you're the one running the ad, but you have it set that all the leads will go to Shelly and she's going to get notified for it. If you have a larger team, maybe you have 4 or 5 people on your team, you might set it that there's different types of lead routes. We're getting into the nitty gritty of it, but you can set it that it's like goes to one person, but the next time it goes to that person. The next one goes to that person, and it just kind of bounces between them. You can set it to it goes to everyone, and whoever claims it first gets it. So there's lots of different ways you can set up the routing if you are running ads for your team. So just something to keep in mind if you do have a team.
Jess, we don't have a team website page though with Keller Williams though, do we? We just have my
you do.
individual. Do
You
we?
do have a team site, yeah.
Okay. I'll have to look, I guess.
Yeah, we can look at that. So yeah, that's what the lead routes are. If you see that there, you'll also see tags. So you can set it so every lead that comes in gets a specific tag. And I highly recommend this for any future reaching out to those people, especially if we're going to talk about a listing one later. But if, let's say you do an ad for a listing at 123 Main Street, I can create a tag that says, okay, I have it 123 main lead. And now every lead that comes from that ad has that tag. And then in 4 months, when I list 456 Main Street, I have a list of people that were interested in the first one, and maybe I should actually just send it to them right away. Right. So that's how you start building that smart database that we talk about, that, you have more ways to contact people and it's more organized in that way. And so like this, you might do like an under 400K tag. I don't have that. And then you have a list of people who are looking for a house under 400K. And when you list one, maybe you send it to them. Or you see one come up, maybe you send it to them. Okay. It also just gives you more information when you're reaching out, even down the road. Maybe you're checking in 6 months later. This tells you like, oh, they were looking sort of in that budget. Then you can offer to set them up with a collab center, or, it just gives you more information for those conversations. So that's the tags. Again, if you don't have the tag already created, like you saw there, if you type it in, you can just create as new tag and it's going to create it in command for you. Okay. And you can add multiple tags. Like I could then also do Facebook buyer lead. Okay, because they're under 400K and they're a Facebook buyer lead. And so just the more information you can put in, the better. And then you have smart plans. This is not a smart plans class. However, if you are familiar with smart plans or you're interested in smart plans, when you're setting up your ad, you can actually set it so every lead that comes in gets automatically assigned to a specific smart plan. If you don't know what a smart plan is, it's essentially an automatic email or automatic text message that can go out to your leads. And you can set like successions. So you can do a text today and then maybe an email tomorrow. And then in 2 days, you get a reminder to call them, and you can set it up however you want. You do have to have that set up before publishing the ad. You can't add the smart plan after. So if you get to this point, you're like, oh, I need to go make that smart plan, you can save as draft at the bottom and come back to it. But if you do publish the ad, you can't go back and add the smart plan to it. Okay. So if I had a smart plan set up here, I could do this one. I don't know what smart plan that is, but we'll say that that's our follow-up plan for this. And maybe you make one specifically like, hey, I saw you were looking at houses under 400K. Just wanted to make sure you have this link to save and send the link that they got sent to. Because if they clicked it and they got off the ad, they can't get back to it. It's like, it's not in their actual browser, it's in the Facebook browser. So it is always good to follow up and send them that link again. Then you can have a value piece. Maybe you offer to like send them updates when there's new listings in that criteria that come up. It just starts a conversation, right? But it is always good to even have that single step smart plan, that one email that's going to go to them, so they're at least getting that first follow-up from you. Especially if you're running this and maybe you have a full day of appointments tomorrow. And if you get 2 leads first thing in the morning, you might not have time to sit down and email them. But this way you'll know at least they've gotten that first email, that they have something to reply to, and they know that, you know, you're taking care of them. Okay, something to think about. I can do a separate Smart Plans class if that interests anyone. But if you are using Smart Plans, you'll want to add that here. Okay. Any questions about that portion? Tags or the Smart Plans? No? Okay. The logo, like the KW Select logo, will get added automatically really small in the bottom. I think if I hit custom, it makes it required. So like you may choose not to put the KW logo on your graphic. It's gonna pull it as long as it's in your marketing profile, it's gonna pull that in. You can see it's really small here. Because I have the wrong version of it added to my profile, but normally it's a little bit bigger. And it also puts that each office is independently owned and operated at the bottom by default as well. So when you're making your graphic, just keep that in mind, that maybe make sure it's not going to cover anything just along this bottom edge. Okay. When you click proceed to last step at the bottom, this is where you set how long you want the ad to run and the budget. So how much do you want to spend? So I always get the question, how much do Facebook ads cost? They cost as much as you want them to cost. There's a minimum spend, I think it's $2 a day. So that's the minimum you can spend. So if you're running it for 10 days, you're spending about $20. It is in US dollars. It says it here, but I like to mention it just in case. So keep that in mind when you are setting your budget. But let's say I want this ad to start today and we'll run it for 8 days, that is 8 days. You'll see if I pull it down, it says my daily spend is 50 cents. I need to increase the budget or adjust the schedule until it hits that minimum spend. Okay. The more you spend, obviously, the higher your reach is. But when you're just getting started with them, I would do, you know, one ad, do a small one, run it for a little bit of time and see how it goes. And then you can, if it works well, then run it for longer or put a little bit more money into it and see if the reach gets wider. I would always start small and start short as well. Because if you run this, let's say I choose to run it for a month because this one can run, it's not time sensitive. And like 2 weeks in, I'm like, I don't want that to run anymore. You can cancel it, but you don't get any money back from it until the ad ends, which is the 30th or whatever the end of the month was. And so if you want to like take it down and immediately post another one, you're not going to get that credit back. So just something to think about as well. If, you know, you can always start it small, do the 2 weeks, and then just duplicate it afterwards and run it again if it's working well. Okay. You have to enter your billing details here. You can enter it in your settings as well beforehand, or you can do it here, and it will save it to your account. So then any future ads you run, it will go to that card. And the really nice thing about that versus going directly to Facebook is Facebook does not get your payment information. KW is taking your payment and giving it to Facebook. And so your credit card is not in the Facebook platform in any way. So if your account gets hacked, and it sucks, it happens, they can't go run ads, because a lot of times that's what they'll do is they'll try and get into your account because you have a business account, and then they'll run their spam ads under you. So something to think about. Make sure you have your security settings on your Facebook account, like your 2-factor authentication. It's very annoying, but very helpful, that you get a notification or you get a text when someone's trying to log into your account. That's very squirrel side note, but something to think about there. But yes, this keeps your billing details out of Facebook. It's not in there unless you go and also put it in Facebook. Okay. And then at the end, if you're happy with how this looks and you're ready to post it, you would just click purchase now at the bottom. If maybe I need to add my smart plan, I would click save as draft, or if you're just not ready to post it. One other thing I do recommend doing, you'll see over here on the top right, the program name is non-listing lead generation, Facebook, Instagram, and Facebook lead form. When you have run a few different ads, if they all have the same name, it's very hard to be like, which one was that? Which ad was that? So you can use this pencil here and you can change the name. So I might do there 400. Just so that when I'm looking at a list of a whole bunch of ads that I've run, it's a lot easier to see which one is which. If you're trying to duplicate it, you don't have to go into each one and back and forth. Okay. Any questions at all about that? No?
No, my only comment is still like 1 to 3 leads is just not very much, right?
This, I don't find this to be accurate. I don't know where they're getting the details from, and this only started popping up in the last couple of months. I don't know where the numbers are coming from, because I've seen people spend 20 and get 10 leads, and I've seen people spend 20 and get 0. So I don't know. It's might be an average because some ads get a lot, some ads get none. I will always say it's going to be the quality of your ad and the value that you're offering that's going to really directly affect how successful your ad is. If no one cares to see homes under 400K, no one's going to click on it, right? So it's making sure you have your advertising something that people want to see. I will say you'll get less, I would say, views and things like that if you're doing an ad with the Facebook form. Because like I said, you can do it without the form, you can do it with the form. You get a lot of metrics from your ads. One of them obviously is leads. Another is like how many people actually saw it in their feed, how many people clicked on it. And you can see like, do people click on it and then not give their information? And Facebook learns the people who click on the things and then don't want to give their information, they're less likely to see your ad because Facebook knows like they're not going to click on it. They never give their info. It's all those little things in the algorithm. And so you'll see if you do an ad that has no Facebook form, you might get like 80,000 impressions, and an ad that you did with the Facebook form got like 5,000. It'll be a huge difference just because the other ones, like, you're not asking anything of them besides clicking the ad. They don't need to give their info. So if you see that big discrepancy in views and things like that, that's typically where it's coming from. You'll get less views, but it's because Facebook is sort of half qualifying them behind the scenes. Like, it knows that they're more likely to give you their info, so they're going to see the ad. So
Right.
it's more than just, are they interested in real estate? There's so much that goes on behind the scenes of who is actually going to see it. If they've interacted with your page before, they're more likely to see it. If they were just on realtor.ca, they're more likely to see it. It's tracking all of those things that people are doing. So I would say take this with a grain of salt. Obviously, as I increase it, it's going to increase to how many leads. But again, the amount of leads you get is just going to be directly related to the value that you're providing.
Yep.
Yep. See there. So the main difference of the other one that I was going to run through, which is the home value, is you would put a different picture. And then when you're putting your link in, if I go into my Cloud CMA, you have what's called a lead generation page in Cloud CMA. Once this loads, once you're in Cloud CMA, if you click on, if you've done your profile, your picture should be up here. You click on the icon up here and go to lead generation. You have this lead generation landing page, which looks like this. And so this would be your destination URL, would be the Cloud CMA page. So you would do your ad, are you curious what your home is worth? Whatever your verbiage is, write something with ChatGPT, and put this in as your link. So they get offered a home report, they click on the ad. The only difference is for this one, you are likely doing includes your landing page lead form and not the Facebook lead form, because they're going to give you their name, their email, their address through here. They're going to get annoyed if they already gave that to you and then they have to do it all again, right? So with this way, you wouldn't get leads through command directly, but you're getting way more information than what a command lead would give you. So it's a bit more qualified. They're actually interested in knowing what their home is worth, not just nosy to see the list of houses and they don't actually want to buy a house, right? So when you're creating that one, like I said, if I go here, you would do like an attract buyers and sellers using your landing page lead form. So then it's collecting the information on the other side, not through Facebook. Okay, but again, you won't get any command leads from this one. You'll only get them like emailed from Cloud CMA. So just make sure your whole Cloud CMA is set up before doing one like that. But that's another one you can do if you don't have a specific listing to advertise and you're looking to find seller leads, people who want to sell their home. And hopefully buy another one. Did you want me to run through that one or would you rather see a listing? Because the process is the same, it's just a different link, different photo. Do a listing one.
I'm fine, but whatever.
Let's do a listing one because it is a bit different in the setup. So I'm gonna click on listing. We'll do a multi-image for this one. So what that does is it actually creates like a carousel of pictures, similar to Instagram when you have multiple pictures to swipe through. That's what it's going to do. So the first thing when you come into this type of ad is you're going to add your listing. Okay, it's a little not user-friendly looking, but to search for the listings, you have to click on filters. And then you can choose what you're searching. So there's street address, city, MLS ID is always going to be the easiest one. Does anyone have a listing that they want me to use that I could use?
Not right now, no.
Do 2881 Highway 2.
2881. Okay, there it is. So you'll see, like if this was listed before, it'll say off market. So make sure it's the active one that you're using. And that's Lindsay's. So I'm going to select that there and click select. And the nice thing about this is now it's starting to build the ad without me having to do anything because it's pulling everything from the MLS system. Okay. Targeting, very similar to the other one. It actually will default to the listing location. So you don't have to put in Halifax or Fall River. It will default to Fall River in this case. And then you can set the radius again up to 50 miles. You can also click custom location, and that's where you can put in postal codes or cities or things like that if you're looking to advertise elsewhere. For simplicity, we'll just do listing location. Then we start building the ad, and as you can see, it's already filling stuff in for my text and my headline. So that's the big difference with the listing ad, is because it's pulling information from somewhere, AI is actually going to help you with this, directly built into command, which is nice. So obviously this is very generic, probably not what you're going to put. But I do want to make a note of these. So if you see these little tags here, so city, price, number of beds, number of baths, they're in like a pill, basically. These are, I forget what they call them, smart chips, I think. Let's see. Yeah, chips. And these are pulling real-time data from MLS. So let's say you do want to say what the price is of the house in your ad, and you do just listed and you write out 1,195. Okay. In 2 weeks, if this ad is still running and you've reduced that price, it's still saying whatever you wrote in there. But if you use the chip, it's pulling the data. So if you want the price in there, you would use this chip. And so if I am writing this ad, and Lindsay, if you reduce the price next week and the ad's still running, as soon as that data feed goes through,
Right.
the ad also changes, right? So any of those details that could be changed, you'll want to make sure you use that. That being said, I don't typically recommend putting a price in it unless, you know, it's a very, very good price. Like that under 400K, something that's like really going to get them to click on it. But anything that's going to be someone's non-negotiable, I would recommend not putting in. So that's the price, number of beds, number of baths. Funny enough, these are all in it as an example. But anything that if someone's scrolling and they say, I need to buy a 4-bedroom house, and they see, oh, this 3-bedroom house, they're not going to click on it. They know it doesn't work for them. They're going to keep scrolling. But if you just don't put how many bedrooms there are, they're going to see the house, and like this very well could potentially be a 4-bedroom house, right? Obviously this one is, but they're more likely to click on it and see if it works for them. And if it doesn't, you at least still have the lead and you can help them find that 4-bedroom house, right? So you want to be as vague as you can on those details that would stop someone from clicking. Okay. The really nice new feature that's in here are these like glittery dots at the bottom, right of the page, which is the AI copywriter. Very similar to ChatGPT. When I click on this, it says, what do you need help writing? You can choose the headline, you can choose the body, or all inputs. So I'm going to click all inputs. And it's going to spit out based on the description on MLS, the details on MLS, and it's going to give me a headline and body text. Okay, if you like how this sounds, definitely read it over. Make sure that, you know, that whatever it's saying is accurate. If you like that, you can just click apply all. And now it's filled that into my body and my headline. So I didn't need to go to ChatGPT and write it and copy and paste it. It's just built in here because it's pulling the MLS data. Okay, so I would argue this is easier than ChatGPT because you don't need to give it the details, it just has it. Right. Emojis are always good. So you have this little smiley face, and you click that. You could search for house. I have a house there. They'll always catch people's eye. And then we have the pictures. So we chose a multi-image carousel. So it's going to default 5 images into the ad. It's the first 5 that are on MLS. But if you want to change them, so let's say image 2, I want the kitchen maybe, I can click the pencil and I can come in and select a different picture for image 2. Or maybe I want this picture here. Click confirm, and now it's changed the second picture. Over here on the ad preview, you can see I can scroll through the pictures, and that's how it'll appear on Facebook. The only weird thing is if you want less than 5 pictures, it doesn't make it very clear how to delete a picture, but to do that, you're going to click edit, unselect the picture, and click close. I don't know why there's not just a trash can. But if you want less than 5 pictures, then that's how you'll do it. You'll just click edit, deselect it, and then click close, and that will take the pictures out. You can also, maybe you have like 100 pictures of this house and your favorite one didn't go on MLS. You can click plus and just click add new media and upload a different picture. Maybe make a graphic for the first picture, totally up to you. You don't have to use the MLS pictures, but they're there out of convenience. Okay. Any questions about that portion so far? Pictures and description? Pretty straightforward.
Can you have more than one listing on one ad, or they all have to have their individual ads?
For this one is just one, but in the
Okay.
ad types, there was listing, single image, listing, multi-image, and then there was multi-listing. So if you were
Okay.
advertising multiple listings, you can choose that one. And when you get to this portion where you're selecting that listing, you can select multiple.
Now, if you were using listings and you're trying to attract buyers, though, would you get notifications that it's conditional or sold, or you'd have to check on that?
Like in what way do you mean? Like for
Well, I mean, like, so if I had listings listed in an ad hoping to secure buyers,
Yeah.
but then that home either had a conditional offer or was sold, is there any notification, or you have to keep an eye on that yourself?
I would say if you know you have the ad running and it is conditional and you want to take it down, you would just need to go in and take it down.
Okay.
And I can show
Yeah.
you how to do that as well.
You need to do it manually. You
Yeah.
need to keep an
It
eye on
doesn't-
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
Okay.
it's
it doesn't
happened with
build it, it
me.
doesn't. Yeah.
Right. They're not going to
my-
notify you that it's sold. You
No,
have to.
no.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
That's what I was. Yeah.
Okay. Next is the, again, post lead submission destination. So when they click on this, obviously you want to give them the listing details. Don't send them somewhere random because that's going to piss them off. So you're advertising this listing, you need to send them somewhere with those listing details. Few different ways you can do that. I don't recommend doing realtor.ca. If you don't have any website, just set up the KW website. The reason being is the example I gave, let's say this is a 3-bedroom house. They click on the ad. They need a 4-bedroom house. They start browsing on realtor.ca. If they're interested in another listing and they inquire, it now goes to that listing agent. or whoever the listing agent is, or if they even inquire through, forget where I was going with that. Lost my train of thought. But yes, if they view anything else in realtor.ca, it's going to that listing agent, right? You do still have the lead, but if they reach out to the listing agent of a different property and they get them first, then you've lost it, right? So I always recommend doing it from somewhere that's yours. Just like on here. So let's say I'm gonna come to my website and I'm gonna search for that 281. Highway 2, was it, Lindsay?
Yes, sorry, Highway 2. Oops.
Oh, because I have my filters on, that's fine. It's like, why is it not coming up? It is not under 400K. So you would search for your listing on your website and click on it, which would bring you to the details page, which has all the photos, all the property details, the description, any open houses if you have that, history, all of that stuff, okay? And all the way at the bottom is similar properties. So if they're on here and they say, oh, this doesn't work for me, they're like, oh, this 4-bedroom's really nice. Obviously, this one is an exit listing, but if they click on that listing, they're still in your website. And so if they click that they're interested in this listing, it still goes to you. Okay. If you're on realtor.ca, it goes to the listing agent. So it's just keeping your leads in your solar system. I don't know what the metaphor would be there, your ecosystem. Because any listings they inquire about on here will go to you. Okay. So for this ad, I would, again, search for the listing. I'm just going to copy the link to that. And then that's going to be my URL. So they click on the ad, they give me their name, phone number, email, and then they get sent to my website with all the listing details. Okay. The rest of it's all the same. I would do a tag for, 281 Highway 2 lead. Create that as a tag. And then I might have my, I don't know if I have a listing follow-up smart plan, whether it's specific to this or just a general one. If you have a smart plan for that, you would add it there. And then the rest of it, again, is the same. You set your budget, your duration, and then purchase it. Okay, so the nice thing about doing the listing ads through there is a lot of the info is already in there and done for you. You just generate it, basically. Okay. I will show you as well. So the multi-listing serial that you were asking about is this one. It would say, please add your listings. So I won't bother searching, but let's say it's like this one. Pick ones with pictures, this one and this one. Let's say they're all in like the same area or same neighborhood. As long as they're your listings, obviously. You can select those, and then the carousel, each slide is each listing. So there's only one picture per listing. But yeah, you can choose that there. Again, the rest of it's the same. It's just choosing if it's one listing or multiple listings. Okay. Any questions at all?
Just I have a question.
Yeah.
And this may have been answered. I joined late. When you set your location, and let's say you've got a $20 ad spend, and you choose one location versus 10, how does that affect somebody's search or pop up? Like, what happens there?
It just, so let's say you put $20 in, and $20 will get you 1,000 views, just in general. And you choose one location, you're gonna get 1,000 views typically in that location. But if you choose 5 locations, you're now gonna get 200 views per location. So like it's gonna divide it. And it's like pay per click, right? So the budget will run out as people are actually like clicking on it. It just reduces your reach in those particular areas. So the money just gets spread evenly amongst those locations. I do believe that there is, I might be wrong on this, but from what I remember, if let's say you do that and you choose 5 locations and like only one of those locations is actually getting traction, it'll just push all the money that way, right? But it does spread it out, so you'll just have less for each in each area.
What you're paying for is essentially clicks, and that's why if 1,000 people click on it, it's a cent per click versus 100, it's $1 or whatever.
Exactly.
10 cents. Okay.
Yeah, let me, I'm just gonna go. I ended up in my team account somehow, and all my other ads are in my personal accounts. Let me just show you. Yeah. Nope, that's not right. Go to programs. So all of your previous ads will be here under programs. If I go to this one is completed. If I click on it. So you'll see, 86 people clicked on it. It had 8,500 views, and then you get a cost per click. So that's kind of how you can see. I think it just divides the number of clicks by the budget, but you'll get an idea of how much it costs you per click, and that's kind of how it's charging you for that until the budget runs out. So if a ton of people are clicking on it and you run it for a week, you might actually notice it only runs for not a week because the budget has gone.
Yes,
Yeah.
if this is an ad you're doing to generate leads, would this then show you how many leads you got?
It would, yes. Let me see if I have one. Do we normally collect the RCPs after? They're all. Yeah, so normally it would show you that
Okay.
here.
I can look in my own stuff.
Yeah.
See what's there.
See if it has a. Yeah, so it'll look more like this. Oh, too far. One click, how many views, one contacts would be like how many leads you got. And then you get a cost per click and a cost per lead based on how much you spent and how many leads you got. Okay, it does explain that down here as well. Oh, too far. Yeah, let me show that there. You can also
I think we lost Jess.
Yeah, I think it's frozen.
Hmm. Oh, there she is.
that better?
Yep.
Saying my internet connection is unstable. I was just saying, yes, it'll show you, it'll look like this.
Okay, I'll check it out on mine.
Yeah. Any other questions about ads? Anything with Facebook? Oh,
Oh, all good. I've got to run. Thanks.
Yeah, no, it all seems pretty clear.
yeah.
And
If
you
have any
said you're gonna,
questions as you're going through it, let me know. And I did record it as well, so if you want to follow along.
yeah, now will you send those out, send out the recording?
And it'll be
Okay.
on YouTube as well.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
All right.
If anyone
Well,
has any
thank you very
questions as
much.
you're going through
Thank
it,
you
feel
very
free
much.
to give me a call. Yeah, that's all I got.
Thank you.
you.
Awesome as usual.
Thanks.
Thank-
Have a good
Yeah,
day.
thanks, Jessica.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.